Have a chance to see two Katarinas in this match because both mid laners will be taking to the Howling Abyss shortly here. Ceros taking on Seiya. We're into Champion Select for the third 1v1 match of this Best 5 series. Right away, Caitlyn being banned out, LeBlanc is the second ban.
I gotta be honest, at first I thought this was Eye of the Tiger, and I was getting it really hyped then, you know, like start the montage going, you know, both these players, mid laners from their respective regions that have been considered one of the best.
Mate, this is better than Eye of the Tiger.
Oh,
that's what you're talking about.
Certainly getting me hyped. Very consistent bans throughout. Nothing too surprising as of yet. LeBlanc and Quinn going to be taken away from the side of Seiya. Means that Cassio is still up, one of Seiya's favorites. Has been, he didn't have a great performance earlier on in the day, but that doesn't take away from the fact that he still knows how to play very well.
Nasus is still up as well, so far 100% picked and banned. Syndra was taken away by Team Fire here. We saw a Jace ban being thrown into the mix in the last game.
There's also Ashe is up. I mean, it wasn't that bad. He came very close to getting the win. Ezreal, I still feel like Ezreal is a very powerful pick that not many players have taken advantage of just yet. But also, we should note like the strategy that has come in. So from the side of Team Fire, they sent in their top laner first, then they went AD carry, now they're going mid. So they bring out the big guns now, or maybe they've waited too late.
So no ban coming out from Team Fire here, and an instant lock-in of the Vel'Koz coming out for Ceros. Misfortune was the final ban from Team Ice.
Well, we saw the Vel'Koz earlier on in the day work surprisingly well against Oceania. I mean, it was a very good pick, something that he's very comfortable on. But Seiya saying, hey, I need revenge for my bad performance earlier on, so what better way to do that than to play the Revenge Master Draven? This guy going to be spinning his way and perhaps guarantee that win for us.
Well, we saw earlier, Ceros was, like you said, able to take down Swiffer one-on-one and took him down from 100% health to absolutely nothing, so he should be very confident on this Vel'Koz, but he's up against a Draven, and it seems like Draven's bringing Exhaust and Ignite onto Summoner's Rift here.
That does seem to be the common theme. Ceros deciding to go for heal, I can respect that, you know, because typically you don't run Ignite on the Vel'Koz. You know, it is something that when you're playing a mid lane mage, you're not really ever in range to use the Ignite, and if you're getting in range of a Draven, I mean, you're kind of asking for a bad time, so I can understand why he'd want to do that. Helps him disengage, help him, you know, in a bit of a tricky situation, but in terms of the early game, definitely in favor of the Draven, especially if he's going to go likely for a double Doran's Blade into the 4 long swords, something that Rusty and I did yesterday, where if you're on an AD champion, it's just better to stack those long swords in the early game because they just give you so much item efficiency and it's just so easy to pick them up.
Whereas for the side of Ceros, it really feels like on his Vel'Koz, he just wants to sit back, you know, relax a little bit, try and poke the Draven out, farm till 6, and then look for that all-in engage. But we're getting back onto the Snowdown Showdown here as we're heading onto Howling Abyss for the matchup between the two mid laners from the LJL and Latin America North. We'll have to see which one can pick up a win here for Team Ice or Team Fire.
Now the risk for Seiya. Gonna get to lane a little bit slow. Now this is another big risk, right? This is another layer to the 1 versus 1 fish, because buying your items, knowing what you're gonna buy first is very important, because you wanna buy, get straight into lane, and then get control over that front push, because it not only does it give you poke priority, but it allows you to set up the wave so that you can actually freeze it and get it pushing towards you. Now Seiya, he managed to get there soon enough that he could go back and move with his minion wave, and now he's actually using the minion wave as a wall, so he has good understanding that the wave, the bush no longer belongs to him, but Ceros, his understanding of geometry is just next level.
Yep, the geometry tentacles from Ceros is enough to get the first poke down on towards Seiya. For now, it looks like just going to be farming it up to start things off. Seiya catching as many axes as possible. Unfortunately, no more bleed applies from Draven's passive.
No.
That was taken out quite some time ago, so no passive available for Seiya.
And even if he gets a kill, he's not going to be able to take advantage of the gold, so he's effectively got no passive.
But he is Draven, so he'll still get adoration. That's all he really needs here.
Now the problem Ceros has is in the early game, because he's decided to go Q for the harass, he doesn't actually have that much wave clear, which is why Seiya has been able to get the early shove on. But the moment Ceros gets level 2, he'll start being able to push the wave back in his favor. Right now he's just doing what he can. He's actually doing a good job of last hitting, but Seiya's punishing him very well.
He certainly has, poking off Ceros here. Both of them started with a Doran's item, Doran's Blade coming out from Seiya, Doran's Ring coming out from Ceros. So they'll have 1 potion for the AD carry and 2 for the AP mid laner. But for now, Seiya just still hovering the wave just beyond the tower aggro of Ceros, making sure he shoves it in and denies as much farm as possible while poking away with his auto attacks.
Well, props to Ceros. He actually hasn't... Oh, I was just about to say he hasn't missed a farm, and then he goes and misses one. Ceros, letting me down, my friend. Now, the healing packs, these are actually really interesting because they spawn at the 2:15 mark. And what you want to try and do is, if you can, you push the late wave up, ready for that point, and then you take away your opponent's healing camp. Because if you're able to do that, you have a massive sustain advantage, and you can afford to take trades that you necessarily wouldn't want to, because you still have your healing pack in the back half of your base.
Unfortunately for Seiya, was not able to deny Ceros' healing pack. He still picked that one up for himself. Got a bit of health and mana back to sustain underneath his own turret. They're still just farming away here. Seiya does have the slight advantage, but is running out of mana. Will head back towards his own turret to pick up his own health relic.
I mean, right now, you can just... It might not feel like it, but there's actually a lot of tension between these two players, because when you're actually on stage in this environment, it's just, you're constantly thinking about, when do I go in? You're trying to track cooldowns, you're trying to track abilities, because you want to pick the best window to try and outplay your opponent, because in reality, no one wants to go for 100 farm. You want to kill your opponent, you want to prove that you're the better player, and it's just... Even though it looks slow, even though it doesn't look like that much is happening, there's a lot of tension right now on the Rift.
We saw just then, Ceros drops a spell rotation, clears out the wave, heads back to base, and picks up another Doran's ring for himself, as well as a cloth armor. Seiya giving up 1 minion to hold the wave closer towards his turret, and he'll head back to base and buy as well.
Thing is, that's actually going to push the wave much more heavily towards Ceros. I suppose, given that Seiya does have the farm advantage, he's okay with this for now. But it does mean that the wave will push towards Ceros. So this isn't actually a bad thing for him. He wants to work towards that level 6 mark. He's even positioned in a way that he can get a bit more harass down onto Seiya. But here we are, the sword build coming out. Ceros even picking himself up a bit of armor to try and mitigate that damage that he's able to throw out. And now Ceros can be the one to be on the aggressive.
Seiya's being rather aggressive there, tries to knock back Ceros, but heads in towards the brush. Seiya getting slowed down. And Ceros is now the one that's pushing in towards Draven. Not able to keep up with the Vel'Koz anymore.
Seiya taking a lot of damage. Remember, the lack of flash is going to make it really hard to avoid that knock-up coming out from Ceros. And if he does manage to land one at level 6, I mean, you're toast. You really are in a tricky situation, and Seiya just has to kind of go in for the all, go for the all-in.
Ceros is really good with hitting his Qs here, weaving it in between minion waves, while still making sure he farms it out. Gets a knock-up on towards Seiya. The Void Rifts come out as well. Gets both procs on top of that. Ooh, he's doing some work on towards this Draven.
He certainly is. And right now, Ceros, he is about... Ooh, he's 3/4 of the way to level 6, so he's going to hit that level 6 mark much sooner. He's keeping the pressure up on the minion wave. So right now, he has actually claimed the minion wave lead. Unfortunately for Seiya, wasn't able to gain much during the early game aggression. And right now, the court definitely feels like Ceros is the one in control.
Like we said earlier, Team Ice, they have 2 wins already. So Ceros needs to win this for Teamfight to keep their hopes and dreams alive in the 1v1 match here. Seiya still getting pushed underneath his own turret. Ceros making sure he pushes out the wave, gets some good poke damage down. He has hit level 6, so has Seiya. Seiya has taken quite a bit of poke here. The health relic will come back up. Ceros is not able to deny that away from Seiya. And ultimate being used by Draven just to clear out the minion wave.
Yeah, he realizes that what Ceros is trying to do, he decides that the best thing for himself to do is just go back, pick up some items, and try and reset the lane, because it felt like that Ceros was the one with more control. And it looks like he's actually decided to go for the Glacial Shroud. So he's picked himself up more mana, definitely makes a lot of sense. He's gotten himself a bit more cooldown reduction, but his damage is going to be a little bit more lacking. So perhaps he feels that, hey, I don't need more damage, given that my ultimate does true damage. It's unlikely that Seiya's going to be stacking magic resistance anyway, so I may as well build to not die, given that I know I'm going to win the farm. And here we go, he gets the knockout.
He gets quite a bit of damage down there. Seiya still holding on to his knockback in case Ceros decides to use his ultimate. Still good poke coming out from Vel'Koz, making sure he shoves the wave underneath. Draven's turret has a nice minion lead for himself on top of that. Seiya avoids the knock-up, still trying to chase Ceros down, pops up a health potion for himself. He has a Vamp Scepter, so will be able to sustain quite nicely as he auto-attacks these minion waves.
You've made many good points there, Fish. In particular, the E Draven. I quite like the fact that he has, Ceros has to play around that as Seiya. Playing way more aggressively now. The sustain doing him so many favors. You can see getting a chunk of health back, and it's really helping him actually against the Ceros matchup. So Seiya using his ultimate early on to shove the wave and get this back has actually done him a massive amount of favor, and now Ceros may only have the option of playing for farm.
The farm is 62 minutes to 63 minutes. Incredibly close between the two players here. Seiya being a little bit aggressive, trying to chase Ceros down. The Void Rifts are coming out, looking for that little bit of extra damage. but neither champion willing to pull the trigger just yet.
Oh,
Vel'Koz still coming out on top with the poke damage.
A lot of poke, as you rightly said. The sustain slowly falling off because Seiya keeps taking that harass, but 2 farm in the favor of Ceros. I feel like he wants to go for the all-in, but he hasn't quite seen an opportune moment. And Seiya right now just trying to keep the wave as even as possible.
And again, using his ultimate just to clear out the minion wave. Ceros sees Seiya going back to base, immediately stops his recall. Stays in the lane, making sure he can go toe-to-toe against the Vel'Koz, who has about 3 minions more than Seiya at the moment. Still incredibly close.
Seiya might just have to go in for some kind of all-in commitment to try and force Ceros away from some of the farm. But, I mean, if he just keeps playing this stall game, it's not going to work out for him as he just keeps taking the poke.
Looks like he's trying to do just that. Keeps running right behind the minion wave, but Ceros keeps poking him out, making sure he can't go in for that all-engage, but it has given Seiya some breathing room. He's slowly pushing this minion wave towards Ceros. Both of them a little bit low on mana. He's chasing him down. Another good slow comes out from Ceros. Stops Seiya from getting even one auto attack off.
And this is so hard for Ceros because he wants to ult, but he knows that Seiya has the E up. So if he ever throws that ult up, then he's just going to get interrupted. And that actually gives so much room for Seiya to go for the all-in commitment because now that big damaging ability isn't available for Ceros anymore. But, I mean, now Ceros has a full minion wave ahead of him, right? It's 86 to 78. There are 3 waves left for Seiya to try and make some kind of a play, so that window is closing fast.
He's a full minion wave behind Ceros at the moment, who goes back to base, picks up a Seeker's Arm Guard for himself. He's going to have a lot of armor coming back into the lane here. Seiya has picked up a pickaxe for himself and a refillable potion with his brown boots, just to give a little bit extra movement speed. Trying to go toe-to-toe against Ceros, trying to zone him away. Takes a turret shot for his troubles here. The Void Rift are trying to cut into Seiya, but he's dodging back and forth, picking up as many axes as possible. The ultimate comes out, gets a ton of damage down on towards the Draven, cancels it, but a little bit too late, and now they're back to farming in the lane.
And now Seiya's just trying to shove this wave underneath the turret. That's his only hope. He's going all in.
Exhaust has come down by both champions. Ultimate comes out from the Draven, but he's taking so much damage from Ceros. He's trying to even out the minion wave here as the health relic will come out. Ceros is not going to be able to poke him down. He's going to try and farm underneath his own turret.
Now, if he can get the majority of these minion waves, he's going to come very close to actually ending the game on points. 97 to 91. This is the moment that decides it all. Does Seiya go for the farm, or does he go for the all-in?
Seiya has got to try and stop Ceros somehow. He's not auto-attacking the wave. He's letting it stay there. He runs straight towards Ceros, who gets an immediate
Stop pushing the wave, Seiya! Stop pushing the wave! You're just asking yourself to lose. You need to stop. Let the axes drop, otherwise this is going to be it for you.
Well, he's going for a Ceros, being very patient. Only 1 minion has been denied. He takes a turret shot. Ceros looking for the damage. He's trying to farm it out. He gets the 100th minion and picks up a win for Team Fire.
Ceros keeping Team Fire in the 1v1 race, but it was so close. 100 farm to 96. And it was a catch-22 situation for Seiya because he needed to keep the axes up to keep that kill threat alive.